Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
Hello, and welcome to another Hailing Frequencies Open podcast, where we continue to trek through the past and future of Star Trek. As always, I'm your host, Mike Jones, and joining me, I think we have both of the co-hosts here. One of them just disappeared for a second. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see that he is representing the pod with merch today. It's Damien.
Yes, you can buy this maybe in the future someday. And we need to update
we're
the
not
artwork.
set up to sell anything.
We were not ready to sell it. I'm wearing an orange t-shirt with our logo on it. Our outdated logo. Sorry, guys.
Our outdated logo. I'm wearing a t-shirt that I bought at the Smithsonian when I went to see the USS Enterprise last week.
Oh, awesome.
There you go. And joining us in front of her famous big purple wall, it's Lenita.
Yeah, my t-shirt is from the Rainbow Run. Yay, Callan Lord. Whoop.
Yes, we support Callan Lord. We actually do. We actually do.
Just giving out t-shirt descriptors. How are you, Mike Jones?
I am good. I've been traveling. I'm a little bit like, I don't want to say jet lagged, but I just haven't been sleeping well. So I'm a little loopy. So enjoy that. I'm very excited about today, though, because our special guest this evening, because you know we love our Janeway Queens. She is the founder of To Proudly Go, a bona fide charity and LGBTQ advocacy organization with its own ongoing series of Trek watch parties. All that, and she's the New York definitive Catherine Janeway impersonator. It's drag sensation Heather Wood. Welcome to the pod.
Hey,
Thank you so much for having me.
We are so glad that you're here.
Yep.
I did listen to the Prodigy episode. I did put it on because normally I listen to it on very rapid pace.
Two times the speed.
I was a little bit intimidated when I got on here because I'm like, they talk so fast. And I was like, wait a minute, that was
a I like to listen to things on half the speed and just imagine they're all really drunk.
Well, I can get
everyone slurring their speech. Yeah, what's in that Captain Janeway coffee mug?
It's Neelix is even better than coffee substitution, and because I didn't get the screw home sober. So.
I'm surprised you're being able to get that through that straw. That is a thick drink.
Oh yeah, well, I can't ruin the face. Otherwise, I need hair and makeup every time the ship rocks back and forth.
Well, you can always tell how much damage the ship has taken by how what state Janeway's bun is in. If it's half down, girl, it's bad.
I mean, any hairstyle she does. I have the bun. I've done the bun. It's very heavy.
Bun of steel.
But yeah, I prefer, shoulder warmer 2.0. So
I'm with you on that. In terms of for my Janeway hair, I feel like once our later Voyager Janeway hair after we lost the bun was very much more my comfort zone, and it felt much more sort of action oriented. I don't think we ever see her with the tank top and the rifle phaser with the bun.
No, it's kind of the bun but the ponytail, I believe. Right? She had the ponytail.
The first time we see her in the tank, in the whole Laura Croft thing, I think that she did the ponytail. She did a French twist a couple times, but then they decided only 709 can have the French twist.
This is true.
I think one of the fascinating things about the hair. I mean, I don't know. I'm a drag queen. I'm obsessed with hair. I kind of miss on Star Trek the big hair. Now it's not so much, but
yeah.
But I heard a rumor that in Year of Hell, she looked it was very short, almost I don't know, like Ellen DeGeneres kind of I heard a rumor that she was pissed about all of her hairstyles, and so she just went and cut it really short so they couldn't do much with it. I don't know if that's true, but
I would believe that. I would believe that. She just takes control of the situation.
Yeah, every time we've seen her in anything, she or I was actually just listening to an interview with her the other day, and she immediately took over the interview and started asking the questions.
She always does that. She always starts interviewing the interviewer. I love it.
I love it. I love it. So we have a lot to get into with you because we want to know all about To Proudly Go. But I feel like first thing is first. Is and this is stolen right from the Mike Jones question book. Do you have a meet cute for Star Trek? How did you become a Star Trek fan?
Oh, I was always a Star Trek fan since as long as I can remember. Of course, it was very much, the original series, Captain Kirk. Loved Captain Kirk. I think I was, as a little girl, I was part of the William Shatner fan club. I got a little signed picture from him in the mail. He probably didn't really sign it, but that's okay.
Sure.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He signed them all.
I've never met him. I was not, I think this is like my age. I never watched TNG, and I didn't really watch Deep Space Nine, but I was at this age where, Voyager was coming out 1995 and was learning about, they're going to be like this sort of lost in space motif, which I kind of still have problems with because they weren't really lost. They knew where they were going. They just didn't know what was lying ahead of them. But anyway, and then it was going to be a woman captain. And I don't know. I just feel like as somebody that didn't realize that I was queer and fabulous at the time, I was drawn into like having a woman be the captain because I knew that'd just be different. And Kate Mulgrew, just her portrayal, the work she did, she's magnetic. She brings 1,000% to every single scene. She uses up every acting cred that she has, even if she's not doing the lines. It's like the rolling of the eyes, the facial expression. She is just, it's really, really great. And, I've thought a lot about that aspect, and just I feel like she would be, if this is a real person, I think she would be that way. I think that makes sense. It's not has to, like she said in her captain's log, I only wish I felt larger than life. She is larger than life, really. But anyway, so I've always loved Star Trek, the story, the message. I think as I've gotten older, realize I think that people that like Star Trek, regardless of whatever your persuasion is, we're all queer. We're all nerds and queers. There's so much about Star Trek I think is queer coded. It's this chosen family. And, and you don't have to be gay to be queer. I think you can be queer because you just think differently. If you like Star Trek, I think you're just a different type of person. You wonder about the world, you wonder about the future, you want that better future. So I think that's really lovely.
Well, and I love you, by the way, you just cut into one of my big Star Trek questions, or we tend to, the big question that we like to ask too is what does Star Trek mean to you? And my answer is always crew, family, the chosen family aspect of it. And I guess I had never heard, I don't think I've heard you put it quite that way, that is how queer that is,
Yeah. They spend all their time together, they talk about their fit. They have, some of them have families, but you never really hear about it,
because you don't see them because they're not there.
And when you do see them, it's usually kind of awkward.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, how does that marriage work?
On the holodeck.
Now, did you was Star Trek your gateway into drag, or was that a separate story and then you merged the two? Like, how did you get there?
So I had never done drag, never considered doing drag. At the time, I had this apartment. It was kind of fairly large, back in like, I don't remember when I moved in. It was like maybe like 2010 or 11, and it was cheap. It's not anymore. But I did this Pride kickoff party at my apartment, and I paid a drag queen like $100 to do 2 numbers, and it was always a struggle. I don't get it. That was good money back then. But anyway, I like the 3rd year, like I got laid off from a job that I loved, and I was very devastated, but I wanted to do this party, and I was like, I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna do the drag thing, I'm gonna do it. And so I like got out my credit card, and voila, Heatherwood was born. And but I do think in terms of like my inspirations were definitely Kate Mulgrew as Janeway was a huge inspiration. I remember before I really went out or did anything, I had like the Real Player 7, and I could like rip audio from the DVDs of Star Trek Voyager, and I put together these like monologue mixes, and I would like kind of get up and drag, not in a Star Trek costume because I didn't really have one, but I would do the monologue, and I remember my friends would just be like, we just like hang out. I just kind of practice, and I put that on. They'd be like, oh, God, Star Trek again, So
yes, again.
So it's always there, but I didn't really get an opportunity to really put the Star Trek side of my drag into my drag. I just did like normal, I don't know, Heatherwood drag. And but then I did got connected with the Gays in Space parties and stuff and events that they did, and I was like, oh my God, like I thought I was the only queer person out there that liked Star Trek, and I was so shocked. And like I think like going to some of those events and then eventually connecting, and I ended up doing work with them for a long time, like about maybe a year. I guess that's not really a long time, but and started doing this, and I started just like, editing and, getting a better wig. This is probably like my 6th Janeway wig. So I feel for Kate with all the hair stuff, but
have you just been steadily upgrading your Janeway wig over the years? Is that?
Yeah, I just like keep teasing more hair as we go along, adding more and more. But so I love playing, doing the Captain Janeway drag. I probably have like over 200 different like Star Trek mixes, but a lot of it is Janeway. I have other characters that I do as well, but absolutely love doing Janeway, and it's just something I naturally, I think I just identify with the character. I actually identify a lot with like Kate Mulgrew and her story, and just her mentality of the work ethic she puts into what she does, and it's definitely an inspiration for me, especially when I'm feeling, frustrated or like kind of in that mode, like, give up kind of mode.
Yeah.
But no, you have to channel the Janeway. But
there's a real strength in her character, both the actress and the character, of Janeway. That is I get exactly what you're saying. To put on that skin must be very empowering.
And I honestly, it's sometimes like I think with my drag, like, I really don't do a lot of drag that's not Star Trek, and sometimes I do. I'm like, oh gosh, can I just do something not Star Trek? So sometimes I have those moments, but
sure,
I really, really do love it. It's so much fun. I mean, like people that come to the To Proudly Go shows, I think we have people that come in and they come in and watch. They have no clue what the hell is happening. But can you imagine like somebody knows nothing about Star Trek and watches a drag queen perform this, they must think that I am certifiably crazy. Like, like it must be so much more entertaining. I wish I could kind of transport myself into that just to see, you know?
Well, so it's funny because so I have never explicitly been to Proudly Go. But I have been by sheer coincidence was at a the SVA Film School or whatever, that the theater that is sort of near Barracuda on 23rd Street had like an after party. So I like saw a movie there that had an after party, and I walked into Barracuda and you all were in the back. And I saw you. So I omitted this from our initial correspondence because it took a little more explaining than was warranted at the time. But I saw you doing Janeway, and I was like, what is this? Because I have always had that same feeling about being that gay people are not into Star Trek. And that there's always been that aspect of like gay nightlife, especially like gay nightlife that tends to draw cis gay white males, that I have always found kind of alienating and never really fit into that. And I remember walking in and my boyfriend is like, are these your people? And he's like, go hang out with them, go be with them. And I was like, I can't really just like leave this party and so I was so like taken in and blown away by, I was like, that you were doing Janeway and that you were obviously killing it, and that and it was just such a revelation to see that like you said, that there is this world of gay people who are into Star Trek, and it was really exciting.
And I think, like, you know, obviously the shows that we do, you know, it's not always people that are gay, you know, this is welcoming for everybody. I was watching, you know, RuPaul today, like something just came on. I just needed something in the background when getting ready. I don't normally put that on, but Charlize Theron was on the episode, and she, I think, like just the conversation was just about spreading that love and that joy, that this is really, that it is an entertainment thing for everybody. And so I really love that Star Trek is for everybody. Drag can be for everybody. And like creating that welcoming space, I think some comments that I've gotten from the bar itself is that they have people that come in to see the shows that aren't really normal, like the clientele that they get.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure.
So
now, and I fear we're missing a little context here because we all kind of know what it is, but for the benefit of the listener who might not, like explain To Proudly Go at Barracuda and like what that event is.
So I mean, I guess just like even going a little further back, you know, like, you know, because I mentioned Gays in Space. Unfortunately, I did not have really a great time with Gays in Space for multiple reasons, but I don't want to.
Yeah, like, we're well versed. Or lightly versed.
I don't want to spread hate out there. It just was not working. And we did get involved with something else after, and with Lambda Quadrant. I don't know if you've heard of Randy Craig and Lambda Quadrant. I love those folks. They're great. We started this viewing party at Industry, and unfortunately, the pandemic really changed everything. And I think during the pandemic, you know, I just started realizing like there's just something I really wanted to do that, in no offense to Lambda Quadrant, was not something that they wanted to do. And I recognize that and I respect that. They have a great space and events that they do. And I think they have this voice that's so unique out there. And I love that. But I want to do something, I think, a little bit more local based. And, you know, we have branched out a little bit more. But so like 2020, December, I'm like on the phone. I don't even know what hour it is, but I know that we're been drinking, me and the co-founder, on Star Trek Online.
and when you're talking 2020, like, what is time? What does it matter what hour it is?
Right.
It's all
Seriously. Yeah. It was like, what are days anymore? But yeah, so we just started imagining To Proudly Go. But we wanted it to be welcoming for everybody. We wanted to use the power of drag, and we wanted to have internally, we wanted to make sure that, one, we were very transparent with the public, with what we're doing. We wanted to be transparent with our team, like how we made decisions, how we communicated with each other. We wanted to be respectful of everybody, even though, we don't always agree, and just having that sort of space. I feel like To Proudly Go is really like when you watch Picard and and they're in the observation lounge and they're doing the briefing. Like, it doesn't matter really about rank. It's about the ideas, the input, and we go around and we hear people out and we accept, we listen to everybody, we respect everybody's contributions, and we don't get paid, just like in Star Trek. And so
you can put a pin in that for a later conversation of Star Trek economy.
Yeah, but
if we really run out of things to talk about, we can talk about that, because that's
we officially got incorporated in March 1st, 2021, and we really didn't have anything to do, but we were busy really just building the organization, all the mechanical operational things, getting set up for the eventuality. We knew we wanted to do a viewing party for Lower Decks, and we really wanted to do that. And so we spent a lot of time. I wanted to go back to Industry. It's New York gay bar for folks that don't know. But they weren't really into bringing us back or me back because of multiple different things going on. It's because they're just ramping up from post-pandemic kind of thing. And so I was like a little bit disappointed. I was like, well, what about Barracuda? Don't you guys own that fucking place too? and so then we ended up at Barracuda, and it's been
I didn't even know it was the same owner.
Yeah, it's the same. And actually, gay owned and operated, and a lot of gay bars in New York don't have that. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
not anymore.
But I love that the owner is kind of like, the Wizard of Oz, because I never have met him, but I do talk to him sometimes.
Nobody sees the wizard.
But yeah, so we ended up there. Barracuda is just a wonderful place. The staff is amazing. The management is amazing. The owner is amazing. We couldn't have been at a better place. I'm happy we are at Barracuda. So yeah, and we actually just celebrated this last Saturday, the 17th of August, our 3-year
oh wow,
anniversary show. So we've been
congratulations
doing this for 2 years.
Yeah, that's great.
Amazing.
So let me ask you though, what in forming this organization, why not just have a watch party? Like what was the motivation to create a full-on charitable organization?
In a way, because I wanted to have it be an organization that does it right.
I wondered. I wasn't fishing for that answer, but I was like, I wonder if that is, yeah.
Because look, I mean, I don't like to be ignorant about stuff with running a not-for-profit. I literally read the New York State not-for-profit corporation law. I mean, it's a bad read.
a little light reading.
I just wanted to understand. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but my husband is a lawyer, and so I was like, "Is this what this is saying?" And he's like, "Well, what do you think it says?" And I'm like, "Well, I think it says this." And he goes, "That sounds good to me." I'm like, "Great, thank you."
You're like, "Why am I married to a lawyer?" If this is the answer.
But yeah, I wanted to be able to do it the right way. I wanted just to do something different. I wanted this to have a purpose. I didn't want to just be about me. I think that Star Trek, I feel like it would be, me personally, just very self-indulgent. Look, I don't need it's nice to hear, but I don't need the approval. You know, I want this to be more about than just drag. I want it to be more about than just showing a show. I want it to feel like a community, a thing of like we're doing something to give back, to make Star Trek, the things that we know and love, seem purposeful, that we can actually do something, even if it's just really small, like just, you know, raising money for another organization like Pop Culture Hero Coalition. You know, like something that feels like we're doing something good, that feels like you belong, you're invested in that. And so yeah, and I think the model has worked so far.
So
awesome.
So you guys, and you can correct this if I'm getting it wrong, but so you guys raise money through your organization and then you channel it to causes that you believe in and are in a transparent way.
Yeah. So yeah, like every one of like the viewing party thinks of like Lower Decks or Card or Discovery or whatever, Strange New Worlds. We select a different charity. We raise money for them during that time. We primarily do it, and it's evolved over time, the model, because when we started, we weren't raising a lot of money. But we do like these 50-50 raffles. And we encourage people to give the money back. They don't have to, and we've had many people that didn't, and that's okay. But like if you give money back, we give you this special donation coin, and when you collect like 5 of those, we give you like a very special personal gift to you for your generosity. Just help, like, you know,
cool,
raise a bunch of money. We have changed the model a little bit because my conversations like with Chase, we raised money for Pop Culture Hero Coalition. She wanted to make the money.
Can you explain to us what that is? And Chase, you mean Chase Masterson from Deep Space Nine? Okay.
Chase Masterson, Deep Space Nine, plays Lita. She runs. She's the president's CEO. I don't know if that's her exact title, but she runs Pop Culture Hero Coalition. It's an anti-bullying organization. They put out these educational materials that they send to like the YMCA and other sort of centers for not just gay young adults and kids, but all kids. And they do have special LGBT content. And she wanted us, the money we're going to raise, to go specifically for that stuff. And it had me thinking, we should really be making the money that we're donating, even though most of all of the organizations are LGBT,
sure,
queer focused, kind of making it a little bit more poignant. So we've decided to really do fundraising for Pop Culture Hero Coalition at least once a year, every year, to make it like be kind of like a fundraising partner with them. We want to do some other things. We have some other ideas to branch out. We have a grants person, our chief development officer, Audrey Silverman, and we're gearing up to be able to apply for grants in a smart and right way, and with some ideas of new programs we want to do. One of them, just briefly, is a sort of drag fellowship. So somebody that maybe that's been doing drag or hasn't, but wants to learn and be part of this sort of space, and we can kind of help educate
drag
them.
Is expensive.
Yeah, it totally is, and we're really excited about that. I mean, look, we're still figuring stuff out, so it's going to be a little bit, but yeah, so we raise money, and for these other organizations, we've done a bunch of them. I don't know the exact number, but we have been able to raise over $10,000 for several different charities during our time, and we're very proud of that. And
awesome.
I think it does, it makes an impact. We were at Trek Long Island, and we raised $1,500 for Pop Culture Hero Coalition. We gave them this big like Publishers Clearinghouse check.
That's awesome.
Great. Oh, I had such high plans. No, I know, I'm angry.
You did. You were giving
this is my
sky.
Making it about me for a moment. I had plans to go to Trek Long Island, and we tragically had to put our cat to sleep that day.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yes. So, but very Trek Long Island. That was like Yeah. So the three of us will be making convention appearances.
Yeah.
Yes, we shall.
We have our eyes on
Mhm.
those. So, um,
I
But
like
yeah.
I went to Trek Long Island. I'm terrible with social media. Like when I saw the post from you guys, I'm like glad I saw it and it wasn't like 3 months later.
oh,
Sometimes some things work. And I have gotten that, like even with Trek Long Island, somebody messaged me, it was good meeting you for 5 seconds. And I was like, oh, and I didn't respond to it for a very long time. I didn't see it, but I'm normally super busy, like, because not only do I do the drag stuff with To Proudly Go, I also run the thing, and I
Yeah.
take a lot of, I take the responsibility very seriously because I do recognize I've learned a lot about being a leader of like being present and being available and talking with your team. It's not just telling people what to do. That's not really what it is. It's being that leader, that person, that kind of force to, set the tone, and because we have a great team that takes on a lot. And I'm very grateful because I cannot do it alone. But
and how many people are like in your orbit with this, like, and are there, and I imagine there's some people who are give more time than others, and
yeah, I mean, yeah, there's, look, and we have that, and that's okay. I think people should come in, give what they can give, and that's okay. It all matters. It's all worthwhile. I think we have about like 8 or 9 people on the board, which is basically people that are officers, also are board members, and we have some other folks that are just regular, like part of our management council, like volunteers, and I don't know the exact. I think it's like maybe like 15 people, maybe a little bit
that's
less.
great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So, they're all wonderful, amazing.
So now in our sort of, since we actually had this scheduled a couple weeks ago, we weren't feeling well, and so we had our social media stalking time was kind of extended. So we've seen a few other looks that we want to hear about, that not just Janeway, because we've seen that you do a Beverly Crusher.
Yes.
And a Major Kira.
Oh yes, I love playing Major Kira. I did that actually last week too, for our 3-year. So, and I do Dr. Jillian Taylor. Love that.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yes,
look
that's
at
a deep
so
cut.
we need to give you a little backstory here from our own Trek lives together. Is that Mike and I, very much not unlike you, grew up on Star Trek, and Lenita is what we call like she's a convert. She's kind of like the Dr. Laura of Star Trek, right? And and so she has like came to everything new as an adult, and we have this sort of like early childhood, like Trek
attachment
memory.
Yes, it is your core memory.
But because she is a completionist, she has watched everything in order, and she probably has seen more hours of Star Trek than I have, on account of some gaps that we don't talk about very much.
That's good.
But yeah, I'm not a big Enterprise fan. But she's seen the first 3 original movies, but has not seen, but stopped at Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
And now it's extended, because at some point we're going to make a thing of it. We're all going to rewatch Star Trek 4, and we're going to do like a big episode of like Lenita finally watches, because Star Trek 4 was like so many people's like way in.
Their gateway, and I'm like, I was just in the line.
Right. And
so movies
every time. So like the fact that like, are you up on Prodigy? Have you watched all the Prodigy?
It's okay. You don't have to make a scary face. You can be like,
no, we're not gatekeepers. We're not gatekeepers here. There's no, you'll watch it when you can.
There's zero judgment on this side of the board.
One of the things, my problem with Prodigy, and it's just really this, is that I feel like Kate Mulgrew as a woman, it's like, oh, what show do we give her? Let's give her the one where she's like teaching the kids. I'm like, it feels very like, hey, like, because she's a woman. I don't. I mean, not that I don't enjoy the show. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to, keep. I
You
remember
gotta
on
yes and it.
Face is so quick. I'm like,
Yeah.
kids are understanding this. I'm like,
Yes.
Yeah. I
Well,
haven't
it-
actually thought of it that
You
way
gotta
before.
yes, you gotta yes and it. See, this is the thing, Damazon, Mike Jones. Like when you come from it from a different perspective, where you're like, oh yeah, of course the lady is going to be the teacher
Yeah.
because she's
Yeah.
the lady. But then I have to go, but it's Janeway, and who the hell else would you want to be able to whip these kids into shape? Like, I love an Avery Brooks, but he's gonna be like, get off my ship. Kirk's gonna be like, get off my ship.
Oh.
Picard's gonna be like,
Picard
"Your
doesn't like
kid,
children.
get off my ship." Like,
Right.
she's the only one who would actually like.
Well, and she
Fair enough.
has this like sort of built-in history with these kind of like with acquiring these sort of like misfits along the way,
Yeah,
right?
like
Between
7 of 9.
7 of 9, Neelix and
It
Cass.
does
Ugh,
fit. It does fit, and I feel like, look, why it's a good thing. It's obviously it's good, but sometimes in the back of my head, I'm just like, okay,
Absolutely.
I want to see more of Kate Mulgrew, just tearing it up, just like drinking all the coffee and commanding and
Right.
saying, "Do it."
It reminds me of
Ready
a
to
joke.
nap.
It reminds me of a joke from way back when the show first came out. And it's the line was, they finally gave a woman the captain seat and a ship that's named after a minivan.
Yeah, that's true. That's so
I never
true.
thought of that.
Yeah.
I learned how to drive on a Plymouth Voyager.
Actually, I drove a minivan, but not like the Dustbuster ones. I drove like the GMC Safari minivan.
Oh, I was in a Dodge
Oh.
Caravan, was my first car when I got my license. My parents were
Oh,
like,
really?
here, this is what you're driving. Don't have anybody in the car. A Dodge Caravan for a 16-year-old. I'm like,
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
I can't believe my parents let me drive the van, but I knew how to drive the van. I realized it was a large car. My sister drove it once and like was turning in the gas station, the
The pylons that
and
separate.
she like dented the back of the van. I'm like, oh my goodness. She drove the Metro, the little hatchback, like.
Oh yeah, the
yeah.
Geo Metro or the
The Geo Metro, yeah. So I mean, I
those
guess
were
I
adorable.
understand, but I actually totally random, but there was a time I actually was like attacked while I was driving. Like I lowered my window, I knew this person, they like attacked me, and I drove away and I just floored the van and I ran into their car and like ripped off half the car, and the van was like fine.
They're battleships. They're literally battleships.
I did not get arrested.
Not unlike the Enterprise D, it's a battleship that you bring your children into.
It's like the saucer section with the Enterprise D. I mean, it's fine. They picked it up off the planet and they put it on something else.
Little spit, little glue.
And did you see there's this whole like digital video that somebody made of them like it's out. Well, I'll find it and send it up. But someone made a digital video of like the sort of salvaging the Enterprise D saucer.
I
Like
saw
when
it.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, like if you're like that can't happen, and someone is like, I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna show you how it happens.
Show you how this works.
That it's real.
The card
plug and play.
He didn't know at all. It was a secret. Like he didn't know. Why did they build that?
They were budget cuts.
I also kind of feel like, imagine Picard, he buries Kirk and he's like, all right, Picard did Enterprise, I'm ready to beam up. And it's like nothing, it's static, and suddenly the Farragut comes and he's like, oh no, we're here, we're gonna pick you up, and he's like, okay, what? Like what happened? It's like,
what happened? Where's my ship?
His conversation with Riker, she's like, so you got bested by a bird of prey? Don't tell
The
me you put the
20-year-old
banana in the
crappy.
milk. Did you? Wait, what? You know, when he says like, the Riker's like, I always thought I'd get a shot at this chair. I feel like, well, you did, and
You did.
happened.
You
So.
fucked it up.
Really, it was Geordi's visor that did it, though. I mean,
We just this clip at the last show. Have you ever seen the Mad TV Deep Stain 9?
No.
no.
It's like they have like a Geordi character in there, and he's like, I can't see anything, and he like takes this lint thing off of the visor and goes, I told you to clean this after every load.
Oh no! Now we're gonna have to go find that.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Because I know exactly who's playing Geordi because I used to watch Mad TV all the time. I don't know why. I should not have been, but I did. Yeah. Okay.
There's
we're
some
gonna.
talented people that came out of that show.
Yeah. There was a lot of talented people and a lot of sketch TV in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, like, I love like the one of the evil villains in that is like, they're like, it's Clorox, and he's like, no, that was my father. I'm Clorox too. You're getting so downy.
Oh, that's funny.
So you have I also saw that you have a Burnham Queen that you work with for.
Oh yes.
Yes, that is something I have not seen before. A Burnham Queen.
So that's Godiva Romance. Godiva Romance is amazing. And she's incredibly busy, so I do mixes for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I first started like doing this, like one of the drag queens was like, is she okay doing all these white girl numbers? And I was like, well, she hasn't said anything. And then I like went out and saw her perform, and I was like, she's good, but she's totally not into it. I could tell it's like dead behind the eyes. So it's like kind of been like a journey, because I realized a lot of my things in my music are white women, and I have to branch out. But I think the struggle with Burnham particularly, how do you make Burnham funny? I think I was able to figure it out, but I think one of the joys about this whole thing is taking moments of Star Trek and kind of expanding on this one brief moment and it up, making it funny. And it can be so challenging, but I love doing it. And I think the audience loves seeing it. I love when Godiva gets to perform as Burnham, and there's like this funny thing, that she does, and it's like sees Burnham, and people see Burnham in a different light, I think, because you don't see that. The show is fairly serious. And there are some funny things, but especially the last season, loved it, of Discovery, because I love the whole like action Saru. Damn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like he's got a secret nickname that she never knew about. I think that's terrific. Yeah.
They should have made Sonequa an executive producer from the get-go. Really, really should have, because that was a really great season.
Yeah. Sad.
But yeah, I love all the actors from Discovery. Sonequa is such a wonderful actress, character, like her character that she did, so great. I've seen her. She's fucking beautiful, like absolutely. She glides, and I wish that they would have given it more. They would have given it more seasons. So I think that's a shame. So if anybody's listening from Paramount, stop it. Stop.
Oh, we got a lot to say to Paramount. We got a lot of, not the least of which is Lower Decks. The only thing about that is encouraging to me about Lower Decks, though, being in its final season, is that they knew the entire time. And I think that was a sad thing about Discovery, is that they had to wrap it up without really knowing, as they were creating that season, that it was going to be the last season.
Yeah.
We did like the, that moment with the coffee for the last episode of Discovery.
Oh yeah.
We did a whole moment. I did like Janeway and Burnham, and we did the whole Folgers coffee commercial because I thought when they were doing it, I thought, are they going to go into Folgers? Because like, but just you guys got to come watch the show sometime.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We really need to. And it's funny because we recently had on, so we had this, Mike and I had this weekend in Philly where we saw the Roddenberrys perform, and then we met the founder of Bar Trek, who was a guest on our podcast, and we were like, well, why isn't there anything Bar Trek Philly? We're like, why isn't there anything like this in New York? And we're like, wait a second,
there is,
absolutely is, and which led us to you, and here we are. So and I think we just have been since we started doing this podcast and we had this weekend in Philadelphia, I think have had this interest in people who form community through Star Trek.
Yes.
And
there is such a powerful community, and I really feel like because it is a little bit fractured, right? But I feel like we should have something that brings us all together. I would love for there to be a sort of like an award show that is for all the fandom content that's being created out there, because I feel like Star Trek is this medium where it's unlike anything else. Like, you can go to the fans, you can go and and ask them, you can see what they're into, you can get that input. In other places you just don't have that as much. It's not, there's other stuff, Star Wars, I'm assuming, has that, but whatever, it's Star Wars, so it's a galaxy far, far away. But
yeah, we don't know much about that.
They're about fighting. We're about discovery and boldly going where no one has gone before, and
they're about the pew pew.
Yeah, we only pew pew when we have to, and that's for defense. It's never. If you notice, we never really initiate it. It's more, red alert, you're coming in our space, we've got to defend our own.
Yeah.
We have a stun setting. I mean, let's
correct.
Just say that.
We're not always shooting to kill. Sometimes we just want to make you pee in your pants and stop.
Always started saying at the shows lately, set your phasers to groove.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lenita, you just made me wonder if when you get phasered on stun setting, if you pee your pants.
I bet you do, and you.
That never occurred to me.
I mean, when people taser you, you pee your pants, like you lose control of your bodily functions. Why wouldn't you?
But it's in the future, so probably all the material.
Yeah, they have pee pads. Yeah. So because we never see anybody going to the bathroom. No one ever, like, questions that I always have about the future. Like, is it a built-in catheter? Like, no one really ever goes to the bathroom. There are sonic showers. Are you really clean? Are you really dirty? Like, what is happening in space?
Did they just beam it out of you?
They make fun of the Kazon because of lack of water. But I'm like, but you guys don't even shower with water. So what the hell are you saying? Like, sonic shower, come on.
Like, what is, we're just shaking, we're just vibrating the dirt off. I'm confused. I need a washcloth, thank you. I need some soap, and I need some water.
I don't know. It might be nice. I don't know. I would try it, but
to be vibrated until.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, like I mean, you can have a certain amount of fun with a shower head, but if it's a sonic shower head, I can only imagine.
Oh my!
Is that a Hitachi brand?
Oh, Mike.
Voyage Ray, I have a shower put into my ready room.
So what has been your of the new generation of Star Trek, of the things coming out? Do you have where what have you enjoyed, and where do you want it to go in the future? Since we all definitely have strong opinions on this.
Well, I think first of all, I'll say props to the folks, the team, and Patrick Stewart for doing Picard. I think Picard really was next level. If the writing, every single season was impeccable. The last season was great. I feel like, look, no.
Wait, may I interrupt you? Because it sounds like you're defending the first 2 seasons, which I feel alone on an island for defending those first 2 seasons.
I like it.
Did you have? I didn't fight you on the first 2 seasons. It's the one where they went to the future and there was bad president. Was that season 3? The week where they was that 2? Okay, sorry. Yeah. So the first one you get, the second one, it was just weird. I liked it. It was just weird.
I think that the thing that I like about it is that, in old Trek, they had like the A storyline, the B storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But practically everybody in the cast had moments and you learned something about them. And I think, not to say it's not negative about Discovery, but Discovery didn't have that. And I do think my theory is because it was originally built as an anthology series. It was only supposed to follow around the Tilly character, Burnham, Stamets, and Saru. And so that changed very mid, into the first season and the second season. And I feel like, Hollywood contracts and stuff, the contracts and signing up for different new seasons, I don't think that's going to change as much. But I think with Picard, it brought us back to this sort of everybody, you got to learn about these characters so much. I feel like I know all those characters. Discovery, I don't really know most of them.
Really?
And a lot about Burnham, but and some of the other the characters that I mentioned, and Saru and all that. But I Ditmer, no. Aworshigun, no. It's like they're part of the woodwork in a way.
Right.
But and I think that's a shame, but I can understand, contract wise, and I don't know, but they probably need so much screen time, they probably need, that's probably built in, but Picard didn't have that. So I love that first cast. They were so good, and the story, you just felt like you knew them, and that's what I think drew me in, even though it wasn't like traditional Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's I'm hoping that the writers and the producers realize this is a model that just works, especially with a large ensemble cast. It's like you have to give people a reason to connect with these folks. You can't just have, I think even Stranger Worlds does this sometimes too, where I feel like they focus on a lot of the guest stars sometimes a lot more and a couple characters, and then everybody else, you don't even see them or they barely talk. And I think that's a mistake, But,
and it's interesting because I think and it's interesting that you say that about Stranger Worlds also, but that with Discovery, it seems like this was a choice from the beginning, that this was a show about Burnham and a small group of central characters, and that they fill it out with this whole tapestry of not so much characters but familiar faces. And the thing, and I wonder how much of this just got out of their control, because whether they just cast those familiar faces with actors that were too compelling, because you mentioned Detmer and Awoshkin, I think that those were some of the most compelling actors that were on the show, and that they never really got every so often they would get a morsel here and there,
but not enough
so that you and you always wanted to know more about them.
Always wanted to know more about them.
But with Picard, we knew all those characters, and it was an ensemble cast too. You got to know, the Alison Pills character and the Rios character, and all and Rafi. Oh my gosh, Michelle Hurd. Oh my
She's
God.
the best addition to Star Trek, I would say, of the sort of new wave lately that I could, I think she just is so compelling in all the ways.
Amazing.
you feel what she feels. You feel what the character that she's so good. It's so great. I think Star Trek is always succeeded when they had all that theatrical type acting in a way. I feel like sometimes people make fun of William Shatner. I'm like, but in a way, I think it works. It's like
Yes.
Star Trek shouldn't take itself too seriously.
This is true.
Well,
but
and
here's the
Shatter came
question.
from the Stratford Festival. He was a Shakespeare actor. Like,
Hey, well, listen, there's no Shatner shitting on over here. I love a William Shatner. But here's my question. Here's the thing about Picard. They didn't have to do so much legwork with the characters that they were bringing in because we knew most of them, right? So we'd seen them before. We'd had them before. They just gave us extra information about where they've been, what they've been up to.
Well, not the first 2 seasons.
No, but no. But yes, understood. But like when our people came back, right? They didn't really. I mean, did they build it out? Like, do you know what I mean? So with Discovery, I think you only, as you said, have so much time, right? And I think that the central characters, we got to learn them. I've always said, like, this new wave of Trek is giving you a 360 full character. It's not just I run engineering, right? It's like, no, I run engineering. And also I'm trying to figure out how to, drive the mycelial network. And my husband is losing his mind. And I'm also raising a queer kid who is in love with, a
bodiless entity that lives inside of them.
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. You know what I mean? So
I hear you. And I give
him a little grace sometimes.
I do think that Discovery pushed so many boundaries of doing things very different and new that I feel like, we can look back and see, well, maybe that worked really well. Maybe that didn't work as well. But I think that it was kind of that experimental show in so many regards that I think that's has some value. The show it pushed so much. It's really actually groundbreaking. I think that just like with Deep Space Nine, people did not really understand Deep Space Nine as much. People do now. And if they don't, then they're entitled to their wrong opinions.
Yes, exactly. Very good.
But I think that as we go on, the years pass, I think that's going to happen with Discovery 2 as well. It's like, or maybe we'll get a Discovery 2.
Hopefully.
But yeah.
Well, and I think what we got in Picard, and I mean this, and I'm not talking about the 3rd season, with our sort of ragtag crew from the first 2 seasons, they were able to introduce those characters in such a way. Like when we first met Rafi, she's like, who has ever looked at Jean-Luc Picard and was like, go away, I don't want any. And then she's like, what year is the wine? Right? She's like, oh, it's the 47. All right, I guess you can say. And right, or Rios, we meet him and he's got like a blade sticking in his shoulder and he doesn't want it treated, right? Or we meet them all in these ways where we know right away exactly who those people are. And also, I cannot not mention Elnor because I feel like the candor, absolute candor, is like a brilliant addition to the Star Trek universe.
Brilliant.
I mean, I really think also they said that they'd asked, Patrick Stewart's been asked to come back to Star Trek so many times. And he's like, no. And I kind of feel like the joke in my head, it's like, okay, well, what if you're an executive producer? What if you're in the writers? What if you did the thing you said, we don't want to do the same thing? And also, here's this piece of paper that has the money we're going to pay you. And he's like, I mean, he also said he didn't want to bring back the original people from TNG.
Yeah, he really wanted to do something different.
I think he caved with that in a way. And the last, Riker, I think it's definitely a huge Riker season.
Oh, it's so
Mhm.
good,
I
that
mean, like,
Riker season.
I don't know about you, but I am rock hard for Riker. I mean, like,
Yes.
Daddy Riker.
Yes.
yeah, I mean, like he takes
Put it
over
on
the
a shirt.
Titan, and I was like, you know what? They're saying they're gonna die, but Riker's in command. It's gonna be fine. You know, like I felt the world is right. You
Yeah.
know, and it was and I think everybody from TNG, of course, and like I loved the LaForge character. I forget her first name.
Sydney.
Sydney.
Sydney and Alondra.
Love.
Alondra.
So great. So amazing. But like those
Yeah.
are just stepping back into the role after so long. I
Mhm.
think is like a drag queen. I get more like thinking about production stuff and like what it takes to step back into these characters and these roles and like how you might feel really nervous, like you haven't done it in so long, but you still got the juice. That everybody absolutely killed it. Like there was this subtlety, but this emotion too. Like when they're on the bridge of the Enterprise D and you know, Forge is looking at Beverly and it's like the look and you're like, I'm crying. Is everybody else crying? Because I'm crying.
Yes. Yes.
Who's chopping onions?
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
and every character had
exactly.
internal conflict and interpersonal conflict
Yeah.
that in a
Yeah.
way that they were never allowed to have before.
Yeah. And so I think it was just very next level. And I think that they're trying to do that again, obviously, with other stuff. And they have gotten it. They have done that. But I think that the other shows, just in my opinion, I don't think they quite captured that. And I don't think it's just because of the characters from TNG. I don't think it's just about that. I think it has to do with the writing, the editing. You know, I've also noticed like, you know, Star Trek is, you know, and I think about this like back in the day, you know, they did 26 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's because look, sci-fi is incredibly expensive, always incredibly expensive. And for them to even do 26 episodes or 24, 26, whatever it was, and to keep that, because that's what every other show was doing. And to have that pace, that's exhausting. It takes longer. And I think for them to do this, I've noticed, like, you know, they have spent a lot of money, but I've noticed them like repurposing sets like they used to do to
Yeah.
save.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that was like definitely like the kind of art of Star Trek is like they're on the battle bridge, but you don't know because they redressed it, you know,
Right.
or like they removed the warp core and now it's some conference room, you know, like,
right.
I mean, I think that they should do more of that stuff too, because we want more. I want more than 10 episodes. I really do.
Absolutely.
Well, and we
I will
talked about
say-
this a couple
sorry.
weeks ago that we miss all the low stakes episodes, all of those the like Beverly puts on a play episode, you know, like
Yeah, the like comfort food episodes.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I will say that I get really distracted in Discovery when every like new set they need for the episode is either the AR wall, which is fine. Sometimes you can tell, or it's round because it's that like, you know, Shinzo Bridge set redressed, and it's become everything. It's like, you know, and they even used it in Strange New Worlds. Like, why is this courtroom round with a big hole in the middle? The strangest courtroom I've ever seen.
I love the lawyer.
Oh,
and like,
yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great episode for us.
I really love to recapture that in the drag show, and just like Godiva playing, and like she goes behind the curtain, like she's coming out with a different costume every time. I feel like in the show, I'm like, was she just wearing something else? They just
oh yeah, she had like some amazing lawyer looks the entire yes,
and also like layer in like Gwyneth Paltrow at her the court like the court hearing thing that they did with when she ran into the like, yes, I did miss half a day of ski. Yeah.
That's great.
That's where my brain goes, but
I want to know, like, lightly back to Picard. Are you at all tempted by the new Silver Beverly wig? Does that strike you at all, or is that?
Yes, yes. Actually, I will tell you, I met Gates McFadden at when I went, the only time I've been to Star Trek Las Vegas, and but at the time I had this wig that somebody gave me, and I wish I could show it to you. I'll have to send it to you after. You can put it in or whatever. I don't know, the online like the video portion, but I just felt like I looked like trailer trash Bev. I'm like, who is the actor? Like, have a can of PBR and a cigarette in the other hand. But they took a picture of her. She's like, oh my God, you look just like me. And I was like, seriously, I don't look anything like you. Let's just take this fucking picture.
Well, which leads me to another question is, how many Trek actors have you met while dressed in drag as them? Is that the only one?
Oh, no. So I met Gates McFadden. And I don't know, she was like I love Gates McFadden, so, but she definitely, the picture she had like deer in the headlights thing, and I was like, girl, you were on something. But she hurt her shoulder, so maybe it was painkillers, whatever she has to do. But she's very nice, love her. I met Nicole DeBoer, and that was like the first time I ever really met any of the actors. And then I learned later, like, because I asked, like, what happened with Terry Farrell? And I learned that was like a big no-no.
Oh, sure.
She was very, very nice. Love her, so chill. I met Aaron Alexander.
Aaron Eisenberg? Aaron Eisenberg, yeah.
He's very nice. I forgot my name, and then he made fun of me for that, which I appreciated.
Oh, that's lovely.
I met JG. JG's just like he is, I feel like, is Marta. He's rough. Like outside smoking, and I was like, I just really love the work that you did. And he's like, I don't get it. It's just a show. I don't get it. It's just a show.
JG, when we saw him at the convention, he announced that I think he lives in Savannah. Is that where he said? Someplace in Georgia. And he says, I come from Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, and I will make it my personal mission to take her down. And everyone was like, got a room full of applause from the, queer Trekkie audience.
I also met Bob Picardo. I was not in drag. A lot of this has been in drag. Bob Picardo was like so friendly.
So friendly. We met him in an elevator, and for whatever reason, we thought we had a real connection. Did not mention any of his upcoming work on Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, he was giving us a one-man show. Yeah, we did not get the scoop.
Kind of took it personal after
I would have
fact.
gotten the scoop.
I've done two things with Bob. But like when he really does, he's very, very friendly with the fans. Like he made me feel like I was the only person in the room, and I was like, I don't want to take up too much time. He's like, yeah, like fuck them. And then I was on the Star Trek cruise, and it was a little bit, I was annoyed because I was gonna sing this duet with him to "I Got You, Babe," but it was "I Had You, Babe." I didn't know what the song was before I got on the cruise. I didn't have internet, any of that stuff. And I had the lyrics that were text messaging to me, like with like screenshots. So I didn't know any of this stuff. So we like rehearsed in like the casino. But I would say that was a different type of Bob. Performance Bob, he was very cutthroat. I remember I was like there, and it was like, people were with him, and they're like, yeah, but if you don't know it, we can't have you do it because then he's gonna look bad. And I was like, I'm sorry, who are you? But I respect that. I also did a thing with him and Camille, the Kaiopaka. passed
Mhm.
since, not because of the show, but at least I hope not. But Bob and her did that, and that was very interesting. Bob he's just really, he's very entertaining. But I did meet Kate Mulgrew. I went to this play she did. I was just saying earlier, I went to see Equus a while back. I think she just doesn't like to, she wants to just bounce. She doesn't want to interact with fans. She just wants to go. That's the impression that I got, because the security guard was like, she just left before even the curtain went down. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
I met her at, she was doing the Half-Life of Mary Curie, and she had tons of lines. It was like just two-woman show. But at the Audible Theater in New York, you can't just go out a side door. You have to come down this staircase. And so she's coming down. We're all waiting for her. People have flowers, and she's like coming down. She's like kind of gliding down the stairs. People are clapping, and she's like, oh, like looking, scanning the room. And I went in full Captain Janeway drag.
Yes, you did.
To Equus.
Yeah. No, to Half-Life of.
Oh, sorry.
Madame Curie.
Thank you.
And so she like is looking, scanning the room, and she kind of sees me, and it's like this very brief. She was like, kind of like, ooh, and like, she went over to these people, I guess her posse, like right next to me, and she's like, "Where are we going after this? Where are we going? Let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's go." And I'm just like, okay. She can see me, right? And people are standing in the room, and they're like looking at me, and they're like shaking their head, like like tap her on the shoulder, get a picture, so we can get pictures. And so I did, and she's short. It's just like shocking.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Excuse me, Miss Mulgrew," and she turns around, and she's like, "Oh my, you look like me." Like she was doing like that. And we just took a picture, and I didn't say anything else, because I feel like I get that energy after a show. You just want to decompress.
Yeah.
And so we left, and I heard like he go, "Oh, all you people want pictures too?" And they're like clapping. She goes, "Oh." So I feel like probably like, that fucking bitch. But
I had my escape planned.
And she ruined
it. Gave me
it.
this look like, just, I don't know. The energy was like, "You think you can do me? You think you can come for my gig?" The big, beautiful ego. But
oh my God.
Anyway, I met some other, Nana Visitor. I love her.
She is just lovely. I got a cameo from Nana on my birthday.
Oh, you did?
Well, I mean, a friend of mine paid her to do it, so as it goes.
Got it.
Still, you still got it.
Yes,
Still got it. So.
She doesn't walk into a room. She glides. She floats. She really does. I asked her, like, I did this small thing at a convention in Philadelphia. Terrible. Not because of her. Just the whole thing was terrible. But they fucked up the audio, so I was gonna perform something. First, like, because I'd met her before, and I said I want to do the Kira stuff, and she's like, "What happened? Where's the Kira drag? I thought that's what you were gonna do." And I was like, "Oh, ouch." And but I said, you always are like so like seem like so centered, like zen, like what's your secret? And she's like, once a day meditation. And I was like, I'm sorry, what's a once a day medication? Can I get that? She's very, I was surprised she even remembered that conversation from before, like a year before.
That's great.
But I think sometimes with the actors, we do need to understand, I think it's hard that they're playing these characters. They are not these characters, but they're people.
Right.
And we need to understand, like, they're doing this job, they're doing this work, and they care, but like, we can't put them into like this sort of every single moment is like representing these Star Trek ideals. I think we need to be cognizant and give the actors the space to make mistakes and be human, because I don't think people are just out there being malicious. I think
Well,
most people say things that sometimes could be stupid.
well, and I think one of the things that we took away from our or I don't want to speak for you, Mike, from our convention experience was that, yeah, it's great to meet all of these celebrities, and but at a certain point, you're like, oh, I think the exciting part is to meet the other fans.
Yeah.
Is that it is to meet all of these other sort of unexpected people that that you share this thing in common with. And yes, it's exciting to see Kate Mulgrew talk, and
Right.
we mentioned earlier we had our prolonged moment with Garrett Wang,
Yeah.
where we learned all the backstage secrets about Kate. But like it was really the sort of like meeting the other fans that was the most rewarding part of the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
because
think
we have something in common with them, and the actors, as wonderful as they are actors, and we all have some bit of theater and showbiz in our background, and actors are actors, like they're like human beings. Yeah, um, they have fragile egos, not to generalize,
yeah.
but yeah, they're just people.
I know Kate always says she's never watched anything she's ever done. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you've seen it good, because if you saw the first episode of Voyager, Caretaker, and those wigs, I don't blame her.
You never would have done it again. Yeah.
But
Well, and it's funny, like for instance, like when we were talking to Garrett at the I was in cosplay as
yeah,
season 3, 7 of 9, like in Starfleet uniform.
I love that.
And I had until like 3 weeks ago, I had very long hair. And
Fabio.
yes, I was doing my Fabio hair, so I was doing my full 7 of 9 moment with actual with my mustache and everything, and my Borg implant. And he's like, and he says, "Oh, you're doing like a Janeway 7 mashup." And then I was like, "Oh, you don't watch the show.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea what I'm doing. You just said what it reminded you of Janeway, and it reminded you of 7, and you think that it's a mashup." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Like, right.
And I'm like, "You're still kind of making a living off it, but you're not watching it." Like, I out of curiosity, I think you might want to put it on. No, apparently not.
I feel like maybe they learn a little bit more about what the episodes are about through the fans, because I feel like they shoot things so out of sequence.
That's true. Yeah.
I think it's like, if I were doing, I wouldn't know what the hell I was doing. So, and I should know, at least me, but I'm an actress, but
Yeah. I can't imagine even the lines. I'm sure it's like learn it, retain it, say it, dump it. You know what I mean? Like immediately, because you have to learn the next scene's lines or whatever. So yeah, they probably don't remember much.
I really do. Like, I think with Kate Mulgrew, I mean, like, look, it's a lot that you can see this with the other actors too, but just with Kate, it's just, again, she's so electric. She's giving it everything. I mean, I remember she said in an interview a long time ago that she was offered to do other things but she didn't want to give Janeway not her full 1,000% attention. I mean, doing that show, I can kind of understand why. And she had an interview that talked about the sort of relationship she had with Jerry Ryan, and how that she was very upset about, not because of her, but just the concept of it, because she just gave Janeway the full 1,000% attention. I mean, she would met Hillary Clinton. She went to the White House. She did a media blitz. It felt like the whole world of women was on her shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing to have. And how I feel like you have to, if you fail, that you failed every woman that's ever been alive in the history of time. And you know, I can see that how the 7 of 9 character could really rub that the wrong way. But I love that sort of mentality of like just giving it like 1,000%. I always say that with the shows and the performers. It's like, look, we don't have to be perfect, but give it your all. Like, do the full attention to what you're doing, you know, because then why? What's the point? Don't phone it in, you know, just do it. Like, have those moments and like take the time to sink into this role, you know, because people are gonna love it. Like Trek Long Island, I hadn't done a Star Trek convention in so long, but I love they got every single joke. They got everything. Like sometimes at the bar, not everybody does, but it was just so wonderful to see like, okay, these do work. These jokes do work in the mixes and everything that we're doing. That was wonderful to see and get that kind of feedback.
It's awesome.
Mike, should we do some rapid fire questions?
Yeah, let's I think
they're not really rapid fire. It's kind of a misnomer, but it's our like it's our
they're short questions.
They're short questions that are pointed towards our particular interests.
Okay.
That we tend to ask guests.
If you could have dinner with 3 Star Trek characters, the characters, not the actors, who would they be and why?
Well, definitely Janeway.
Janeway.
That would have been a real left turn had you said anything about that. I would be like, what were we just talking about all of this time?
I just feel like I should have said somebody else because it's like, well, I just had dinner with her last week. So I'm kidding. But Janeway, definitely, I don't know. I'm just gonna put stuff out. I think like something that would be like entertaining. Janeway, Garrick, or Gul Dukat, actually. Gul Dukat.
Ooh.
And maybe, I don't know, like, who would be the other person? Oh, and Deanna Troi. I just feel like they'd all be like, what? You know?
A Betazoid.
I just want to see that conversation.
A Cardassian.
Sit back and watch that
happen. Really a space Nazi.
You know how I feel about Cardassians, so.
Yes, Lenita doesn't like Cardassians because they're ugly.
Well, it's not because they're ugly. There are ugly things that I like. It's the neck and the spoon on the forehead.
I feel like I want
the reptilian.
Eviscerate Gul Dukat, and I kind of feel like I don't really know how Janeway would react to Deanna being sort of like, your feelings. She'd be like, what?
Did this just turn into like a Star Trek, like fuck, marry, kill? Is that what?
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
we should do that. Yeah, she had no room for a counselor on her ship, Captain Janeway.
No, she said that she wished they had one at one point, but I feel like secret is like, yeah, no.
But how do you feel about being stuck in the Delta Quadrant?
Well, I could have gotten lost in the Delta Quadrant with a normal crew.
If you could have any holodeck program, what would it be?
Ooh.
Speaking of distractions while you're lost in the Delta Quadrant, would it be a Jane Austen novel?
Like Star Trek is my holodeck program, so
right.
If I were, I don't know. Oh my god, I don't know. I have no idea. Wow, these are hard questions. Maybe I'd just be like, I don't know. I'd be a drag queen. Like if I were Janeway, I'd want to be like a Star Trek or like sci-fi in the future drag queen.
Oh yeah, future drag. Oh yeah.
They should do a thing like, oh, go back to 2000 clickety clack drag. Be part of drag.
I like the clickety clack.
Yeah, what would drag be in the 24th century? I mean, makeup would probably be much easier. It would probably be just some little machine that you wave over your face.
Correct.
And you're
Hello, a la The Fifth Element, changing our fingernail polish.
Yeah.
Wiping on a new face.
Right.
I feel like she would
Waiting
be
for
like,
that day.
she'd be like, I want to come in because I want to get inspired about how to be a bitch. I mean, there's a reason. She'd be like, there's a reason why I have dogs, because I love bitches.
Oh my God. I love it. Okay, these are a little more rapid fire. Crusher or Pulaski?
Pulaski.
Oh,
Nice.
Ooh.
You do like a bitch.
That-
Would you take Klingon Tai Chi with Worf or Leotard Yoga with Beverly and Deanna?
Definitely Beverly and Deanna. Piana.
Deanna?
I just created a new character. I just feel like it
Deanna
would
and
be
Piana.
hilarious. I mean, she did do that dying swan thing,
Mhm.
Janeway. So, that would fit.
Absolutely. Tea, Earl Grey hot or coffee black?
Oh, definitely coffee black.
yes.
Be very careful. I'm only missing spots.
And finally, who is your Star Trek bartender? Guinan, Quark, or somebody else?
Oh, definitely Guinan. Yeah.
It's obvious.
She has all the good stuff, and she doesn't charge.
Exactly.
Just the
And
good
she
stuff behind the bar.
She listens.
I love it.
For that pod about the economics of the future, when we talk about that, we'll cover exactly why Guinan doesn't charge, because I still don't understand.
Oh, someone's got to explain it to me. How there's literally only one faction of people who care about money, and everybody else is like,
Ferengi.
if you want it, you can have it.
So, did they just replicate the money just to do the thing? I mean,
No, because then why would Quark care about losing Latinum at the Dabo table?
I don't know. That's what I don't get. But
It's weird. Well, Latinum is supposed to not. It's like Harry Potter. Like you can't, like the rules of what you can create. You can't replicate Latinum for whatever reason, and that's why it's valuable. But like, so like, what are you going to do with all this Latinum? I don't know. We need to bring on an economist because I don't understand the real world economy. So there's no way I'm going to understand future economy.
Nobody does.
We'll have an economist on, and the three of us will just sit there going,
like, what?
Exactly.
Yes. So can you tell us where to find you? Like where
And all the things.
All your links.
You can find obviously To Proudly Go at To Proudly Go anywhere that there's social media. The normal stuff, not like Christian group or anything. And you can find me on social media. I am the Heather Wood, except for like Facebook. I think I am Heather Wood because somebody took that one. But and
I can relate to that.
I have a website, heatherwood.net, because I love the 90s, apparently. I just feel like .net feels very 90s. And
it is.
You can catch me at Barracuda on Saturdays. We have our show most Saturdays. Sometimes we're off for like holidays. We're off for Labor Day weekend. But you can check us out there, 6 o'clock, Barracuda and Chelsea, Manhattan. It's a wonderful time.
We're gonna come, and I'm gonna drag Lanita along too, and maybe Mike, because Mike is in Florida.
He's got to travel in. But see,
next time I'm in New York, though, we have to.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, at least Damazon and I will go before you do, and then you will join us on our second venture out.
Yes.
Or Damazon's third venture out, since he's already been there. And
I was a guest at an adjacent party and was dying to join, for the record, just so we.
And if I was there, you would have joined, because being at a party means shit to me. That's funner over there. We're going over there.
Yeah. So when you see Lanita on a different podcast, you'll know what happened.
And if you make it out, I have a replicator ration waiting for you for alcohol. And it's not the synthahol bullshit. It's the
real stuff.
It's
Okay.
the real deal.
It's not top shelf though, but it's like middle, maybe. I don't know. Talk to the
That's okay.
And we're saying
That's
this on the
vagina.
pod right now, so it must be true that
Yeah.
Lanita and I are going to the Creation Con in Secaucus.
Oh,
and
When is that again?
Mike Jones,
November?
it's in November. It's the first weekend in
Okay.
November, I believe.
Just have
And
to
Mike
keep reminding me.
Jones just needs to buy a flight, and he can stay at my place. And we're all going to go to that, and we would love to see you there as well.
You know, we've been talking about doing that, so you never know. You might see us.
Yay!
I'm gonna manifest that.
Yeah,
Right.
might maybe even Comic-Con, because I put in an application for something. So
Ooh.
Oh, I believe I'm going to one day of that.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll talk about. Are
So
you
excited.
are you at work tomorrow? We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Yeah, they work together.
We don't. We work in the same building, far apart, and occasionally
opposite
cross
sides.
paths.
Opposites, literally
Yeah.
opposite sides. We are a block apart in the same building.
Block apart.
Yes, and then have like a weirdly intimate interaction, and everyone's like, "You know each other."
Little do you know. Yes, we do.
Awesome.
Emma,
Well,
this was awesome. Thank you so much.
yes, thank you so much for coming on and taking time. This has just been a real joy. And thank you all for listening as well. If you have enjoyed today's episode, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Please make sure to check out To Proudly Go and support them and support, the other groups, the charitable groups that they support. You know what I mean? This is, I think, the best way we can move towards the Roddenberry future is by helping each other and supporting each other in this very divisive world.
Oh, Mike Jones, that turned so moving just now.
Well, every now and then I have to pull that out. I don't know. Okay, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you go. The TikTok we're on now at Hailing Freak Open, and online at hailingfrequenciesopen.com. And with that, I will say thank you again, and Hailing Frequencies closed.